Hello all, coming to the next topic, waterfall model. So the waterfall model was introduced by the Winston Royce in the year 1970s, and another name for the waterfall model is linear sequential development model. And this waterfall model approach was the first SDLC model. Here the SDLC in the sense software development life cycle. And the coming to here, the main thing here we are going to consider in the waterfall model is each phase must be completed before the next phase can begin. So here we can say output of one phase will be input of next phase. And this name was called as waterfall model because the diagrammatical representation is like flow of waterfalls. Coming to the next, we'll consider the when to use the waterfall model. So here we are going to consider the few steps like when to use the waterfall model. The first thing, when the requirements are consistent and not changed regularly. In this case, we can use the waterfall model. And coming to the next, application is not complicated and big. And coming to the next thing, we can consider a project is short and simple. And coming to the next thing, we can consider where the tools and technologies used here will be the consistent and is not changing. So coming to the next, we can consider when resources are well prepared and are available to use. In these 5 cases, we can use the waterfall model for the software development. Is coming to the next, we'll consider the different phases of waterfall model. So there would be the mainly 5 phases: communication, planning, modeling, construction and deployment. These are the 5 phases of waterfall model. Yes, now you can see the diagrammatical representation for the waterfall model. So the 5 phases: communication, planning, modeling, construction and the deployment. So in this case, we are going to consider the 2 important areas for the particular phase. And you can see the diagram should looks like flow of waterfalls. And coming to the first thing, communication. In this communication phase, we are going to consider the 2 important areas: project initiation and the requirement gathering. Coming to the planning phase, we are going to consider the 3 important areas: estimating, scheduling and tracking. And coming to the modeling phase, we are going to consider the important areas: analysis and design. So coming to the construction phase, we are going to consider the areas: coding and testing. So coming to the deployment phase, we are going to consider the things: delivery, support, feedback. So this would be the diagrammatical representation with the 5 phases of waterfall model. Yes, now we'll see the detailed description of all the 5 phases. Coming to the communication phase, here we are going to consider the communication between the developer and the end user. So here the developer should consider all the customer requirements and should prepare some customer requirement specification here. And coming to here the involvement of the stakeholders would be there. Here the stakeholders in the sense that people who are involved in the particular software project, we can consider them as a stakeholders. Their view of the or vision of the product can be acquired and documented. And coming to the 2 important areas, as I said earlier, project initiation and the requirements gathering. Yes, coming to the next phase, analysis phase, here we are going to consider the entire project strategy is devised. So coming to here, we are going to consider the issues. The first one is entire project schedule is estimated, and the next deep analysis of requirements of resources is made, and the next number of people involved in the project should be considered, and the next duration of the project should be considered, and the expected cost of the project should be considered. So here we can say the main focus areas are estimating, scheduling, tracking. Coming to the next phase, modeling phase. So coming to here, modeling phase. So here the entire requirements which should be divided into 2 parts: software requirements and hardware requirements. So in the second phase, the complete project scenario was analyzed. So coming to here in the modeling phase, with the help of the second phase, here we are going to view the system in the diagrammatical manner. So for the diagrammatical representation, here we are going to use the UML diagrams. UML in the sense Unified Modeling Language diagrams. So those things we'll discuss in the 3rd unit. So coming to here, so the modeling phase will be the important for successful completion of the project. And in the modeling phase, we can consider the important areas, analysis and design. Just coming to the next phase, construction phase. Here the construction phase, in the sense, here we are going to consider the complete coding part. According to the design, here we are going to implement the system. So here we are going to consider the software system into the different module wise. Here we are going to implement the system into different program units. So these we can call it as a components. So we are going to write the code for the different components. Once the coding part is completed, the entire software is thoroughly tested. Here main areas we can consider: coding, testing, integrating and again testing. Is coming to the next phase, deployment phase. This forms the final phase of the waterfall model for the software development. So coming to here the software usually delivered to the customers and should take feedback from the users related to the particular software product. So according to that, modification should be made. Here the main areas we can consider: perfect delivery, support, feedback. Is coming to the next, advantages of waterfall model. The waterfall model is simple and easy to understand and use. And the next, before the next phase of the development, each phase must be completed, and it works well for smaller project. Requirements here are well understood and fixed. Any changes in software is made during the process of development, and here process and results are well documented. So these are the advantages of waterfall model. Is coming to the next, disadvantages of waterfall model. The first thing we can consider it as a high amounts of risk and uncertainty. So coming to here, according to the customer requirements, we should build the software. So in each and every phase, we are not going to deal with the customers in the waterfall model. At the end only, we are going to give to the customers and should take feedback from those, and again we should start from the first. That is the main drawback for the waterfall model. And coming to the next step, we can consider errors can be fixed only during the phase, not suitable for the projects where requirements are changing. It becomes very difficult to move back to the phase. Not a good model for complex and object-oriented project. Clients' valuable feedback cannot be included with ongoing development phase. Yes, that is all about the session waterfall model, introduction and when to use the waterfall model, and what are the different phases in the waterfall model, detailed description of those phases, and the next advantages and the disadvantages of the waterfall model. Hope you all understand the session. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all.